Everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Brain.
And I'm Anna. We're so excited you're here with us today.
In today's episode, we're diving into something really important. And honestly, it's one of the biggest game changers when it comes to becoming fluent in English.
That's right. We're talking about how to think in English. Not just speaking English, not just understanding it, but actually thinking in English automatically, naturally, without translating in your head.
If you've ever found yourself thinking in your native language and then trying to translate every word before speaking, you're not alone. We've heard that story from so many learners.
And today, we're going to help you fix that. We'll explain why thinking in English matters, what usually stops people from doing it, and how you can start training your brain to live in English every single day.
We'll also share some practical tips, fun daily exercises, and even a few personal stories from our own experience. So stay with us, because by the end of this episode, you'll be ready to start thinking in English like a natural.
Ready to switch your brain to English mode? Let's get started.
So, let's get into it. Why is thinking in English such a big deal?
It's simple because the moment you start thinking in English, you stop translating, and that is when real fluency begins.
Exactly. When you translate in your head, it slows everything down. You're trying to match grammar, search for vocabulary, and build the sentence in two languages. It's like juggling while riding a bike, totally possible, but not fun.
Laughs. That's a great way to put it. But when you think in English, your thoughts flow directly into speech. No middle step, no translation delay.
And here's another reason it's important. Thinking in English builds confidence. When your brain is used to forming thoughts in English, speaking becomes much easier because the mental preparation is already done.
Right. And not just speaking, listening too. If your brain is already operating in English, you'll understand conversations faster. You won't have to decode every sentence in your mind.
And here's the real kicker. When you think in English, your vocabulary grows more naturally. You start to connect words with experiences, not translations. For example, if you see a dog and think, "That's a big dog," instead of thinking, "Perro grande," and translating it, you're locking in the English phrase with the real moment.
Yes. You're teaching your brain to use English as your default language in everyday life. Even in quiet moments like brushing your teeth or walking to the store, you can be thinking in English.
And those quiet moments add up. Imagine spending 30 minutes every day thinking in English. That's over 180 hours a year.
Wow! And the best part is you're not adding extra study time. You're just using the time you already have smarter.
So whether you're a beginner or more advanced, thinking in English is one of the fastest and most powerful ways to improve your fluency.
Coming up next, we'll talk about what actually stops most learners from thinking in English and how you can overcome those roadblocks.
Stick around!
All right, so we know that thinking in English is super important, but let's be honest, it's not always easy at first. So, brain, what's actually stopping people from doing it?
Oh, so many things. But let's start with the big one: fear of making mistakes. A lot of learners are afraid their thoughts won't be correct in English. So instead of trying, they avoid it altogether.
Yes, people think if I can't form a perfect sentence in my mind, maybe I shouldn't do it at all. But that's the wrong mindset. Your brain needs practice, not perfection.
Exactly. Think about it this way. Babies don't wait to learn grammar before they think or speak. They just try and they learn as they go. That's how you should treat English, too.
Another big blocker is the habit of translating everything from your native language. It's automatic. For many people, they see a chair, and their brain says silla or kursi or gh, depending on their language, and then they try to translate it to English.
Right? But that creates a mental traffic jam. You end up focusing more on the translation than on expressing your thoughts. And over time, that habit gets stronger if you don't break it.
And let's not forget limited vocabulary. Some learners tell us, I want to think in English, but I don't know enough words. And yes, vocabulary is important, but here's the truth. You can think in English with just a few hundred words.
Absolutely. You don't need to know fancy words to start. Use what you already know. For example, if you don't know the word cucumber, just say green vegetable in your mind. The point is to keep going in English even if you describe things simply.
I love that. And there's one more thing, lack of confidence. Some learners think, I'm not good enough yet, and that's a trap. You don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to start, and confidence will grow with time.
So true. So just to recap, the main things that stop learners from thinking in English are 1. Fear of making mistakes. 2. Translating from their native language. 3. Limited vocabulary. 4. Lack of confidence.
And the good news is all of these can be overcome. In the next part, we'll share how to start thinking in English step by step.
You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Okay, so now that we know what's been holding people back, let's get into the good stuff, how to actually start thinking in English.
Yes. And spoiler alert, it's easier than you think. You don't need to be an advanced speaker. You just need to start with simple steps.
Here's the first one, talk to yourself in English. Seriously, you don't need a partner. You can just think or whisper short sentences about what you're doing.
Exactly. Like I'm brushing my teeth, or now I'm making tea, or it's sunny outside today. These are real thoughts you already have, just say them in English.
And don't worry about grammar being perfect. That's not the goal here. The goal is to stay in English. So if you're not sure about tenses, don't stress it. Just keep going.
Another great tip is to use the narration method. That means you narrate your day, like you're a storyteller. For example, I'm walking to the bus stop. There are lots of people. I see a small dog. It looks happy.
That's a fun one. You become the narrator of your own life. And it's great practice because it builds your vocabulary and helps you think more fluidly in English.
Also, try asking yourself questions throughout the day in English, like what should I eat for lunch, or what time do I need to leave? Just normal questions you'd ask in your native language, but now ask and answer in English.
Yeah, have a mini conversation in your head. I think I'll eat noodles. No, maybe a sandwich. That kind of back and forth is amazing for fluency.
Here's a tip that helps a lot of people set English-only zones. For example, decide that when you're in the kitchen, you'll only think in English, or when you're walking or taking the bus, you'll use English in your mind.
That's a smart idea. It creates routine, and your brain starts connecting certain activities with English. Over time, it becomes automatic.
And remember, don't wait until you feel ready. You'll never feel 100% ready. The time to start is now. Start small, but start.
Even if it's just 1 minute a day at first. 1 minute of thinking in English is better than 0. And once you begin, it gets easier and more natural with time.
So true. And later in the episode, we'll share some daily practice ideas to help you build that thinking habit even more.
But for now, remember this. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Thinking in English is a habit, and habits are built with repetition.
Coming up next, we're going to give you some creative daily exercises you can use to start thinking in English. All right, so now let's talk about how to build the habit of thinking in English daily. Because, let's be honest, it's not a one-time thing. It's something you need to do every day, even if it's just a little bit.
Exactly. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't do it once and say, done, you do it every day. Same with English, you have to keep your language brain clean and sharp.
Laughs. I like that. So here are some fun daily exercises that can help.
First up, mirror talk. Stand in front of the mirror and speak to yourself in English. You can talk about your day, your plans, or how you're feeling. It's a great way to get used to expressing yourself, and seeing your face helps make it more real.
Yes, even 1 or 2 minutes in the mirror can boost your confidence. Try starting your day with, "Good morning. Today I have a meeting. I feel excited but a little nervous." Just simple, natural thoughts.
Here's another one, flashback method. At the end of the day, review what happened, but do it in English. For example, today I went to the market. I bought apples. The weather was hot.
This is powerful because it connects English with real memories. That helps your brain remember vocabulary better.
Another great one, talk to objects. Sounds strange, but it works. Pick up an object and describe it. This is my phone. It's black. I use it every day. You're building vocabulary and training your brain to think about things in English.
And speaking of vocabulary, make your to-do list in English, or your grocery list, or your goals for the week. When you write these in English, you naturally start thinking in English as well.
Also, try creating short dialogues in your mind. Like pretend you're at a coffee shop ordering a drink. Hi, can I get a cappuccino? Sure. Small or large? Large, please. To go.
That's such a fun way to practice, and it's useful for real life too. You're preparing your brain for everyday situations before they happen.
Here's one of my favorites. Set a 5-minute thinking challenge. Each day, choose a short time maybe while washing dishes or walking to think only in English. Just 5 minutes. No translations allowed.
I love that. It makes the habit small and manageable. And if you do 5 minutes a day for a week, that's 35 minutes of English thinking without even sitting down to study.
And if you're into journaling, try writing a few sentences in English every night. Just today was a good day. I met my friend. We had lunch together. Super simple but super effective.
So, to recap, here are a few daily thinking practices. 1. Mirror talk. 2. Flashback reflection. 3. Describe objects around you. 4. English to-do and grocery lists. 5. Mental mini-dialogues. 6. 5-minute English-only thinking sessions. 7. Short journaling in English.
Choose 1 or 2 and try them today. You don't need to do all of them. The key is to be consistent with just a few.
Coming up next, we'll share some personal stories about how thinking in English has helped real learners, including ourselves.
Stay with us! You know, Anna, thinking in English isn't just something we talk about, it's something we've both actually done in our own language learning journeys.
Totally. I remember when I was learning French. At first, I always translated everything in my head. It was exhausting. But then I made a rule. Every morning when I brushed my teeth, I would think only in French. Just simple stuff like, "I have a meeting today," or "Don't forget your keys."
That's such a smart way to start. For me, when I was learning Spanish, I used to walk to the bus stop every day, and that became my English off Spanish on zone. I'd describe things I saw. The sky is cloudy. That man has a red umbrella. After 2 weeks, it became automatic.
That's the key, right? You don't need a classroom, you need a moment, just a few minutes, where you train your brain to stay in the new language.
Exactly. And I remember one student of mine, a beginner from Vietnam, who told me she started by thinking in English while cooking dinner. Just saying in her mind, "Cut the vegetables." Now, I boil the water. Simple phrases, but after a month, her speaking speed improved a lot.
That's amazing. And I had a student from Brazil who used sticky notes. She labeled everything in her room with English words and used those labels to create thoughts in her head. Like, the lamp is on. My book is under the table. Super effective.
These examples just show it's not about talent or luck. It's about using everyday moments to build your English thinking muscle.
Yes, and if you're listening to this and thinking, can I really do this? We're here to say, absolutely yes. You don't need perfect grammar. You need brave practice.
Coming up next, we'll talk about how to make thinking in English a lasting habit, not just a one-week.
All right, brain, we've covered the basics, but what if someone's already doing the daily practice? What's next? How do they go from thinking in English to thinking like a native speaker?
Great question. Once you're comfortable with simple thoughts, it's time to level up. One technique I love is visual storytelling. Basically, you imagine a scene like walking through a city and describe it in detail in your mind. I see a woman holding a blue umbrella. A child is eating ice cream. The cars are noisy. It's like painting a picture with your thoughts.
I love that. And if you want to challenge yourself even more, try internal debates. Choose a topic like, is social media good or bad? And argue both sides in your mind. First one opinion, then the other. It really stretches your vocabulary and critical thinking in English.
Yes, that's powerful. Another advanced method is shadow thinking. This is where you listen to a native speaker, maybe a podcast or video, and try to think along with them in real time. Not repeating their words out loud, but silently forming your own version of what they're saying in your head.
Ooh, I do that sometimes while watching movies. I pause and think, what would I say in that situation? It keeps my brain active and makes the language more personal.
Exactly. And here's one more switch emotions. Imagine feeling happy, angry, or surprised, and describe those emotions in English. For example, I'm frustrated because my internet isn't working. It helps you connect language to feeling, not just logic.
That's next-level thinking, because language isn't just words, it's life. And when you start thinking emotionally in English, you're getting very close to fluency.
Coming up next, we'll talk about how to make thinking in English not just a tool, but a lasting habit.
Stick around.
Before we wrap up, let's talk about a few common mistakes learners make when trying to think in English, because avoiding these will save you a lot of frustration.
Absolutely. One of the biggest mistakes is trying to translate every single word from your native language. That's tiring, slow, and not how natural thinking works.
Yes, instead of translating, focus on simple, direct English thoughts. Use words you already know. For example, don't try to say, I am pondering my afternoon activities, just say, what will I do later?
Another mistake is waiting for the perfect time to start. People say, I'll start thinking in English when my grammar is better. But if you wait, you'll never begin.
Exactly. The perfect time is now, even if your English is basic. You learn by doing, not by waiting.
And here's a subtle one. Being afraid of making mistakes even in your own head. But thinking is private. It's your practice space. Make all the mistakes you want. It's how you grow.
So true. Don't be a perfectionist. Be a practitioner. That's how you build fluency.
Coming up next, we'll give you a quick recap and final motivation to help you get started today.
Let's bring it all together. All right, Anna, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to remind everyone listening thinking in English is a journey. It won't happen overnight, but every small step counts.
Yes, remember, even native speakers sometimes struggle to find the right words. So don't be hard on yourself. Be patient, keep practicing, and celebrate your progress.
The most important thing is to start. It doesn't matter if your sentences are simple or imperfect. What matters is that you keep your mind in English every day.
And don't forget, practice doesn't have to be boring. Make it fun. Talk to yourself, tell stories, imagine, debate in your mind, make English a part of your life.
You've got this. Your brain is a muscle, and the more you train it, the stronger your English thinking will become.
So today, take just 5 minutes and try thinking in English. Start small, but start now.
Thanks for listening to English Learning Podcast. We'll see you in the next episode with more tips to help you speak English confidently.
Bye for now and happy English thinking.
All right, Anna, let's quickly recap what we talked about today.
Sure. First, we explored why thinking in English is so important it helps you speak more fluently and naturally.
Then, we discussed common challenges that stop learners from thinking in English, like translating and fear of mistakes.
After that, we shared simple ways to start thinking in English, like talking to yourself, narrating your day, and asking yourself questions in English.
And we gave practical daily exercises, mirror talk, flashback reflection, mental dialogues, and more to build the habit.
Plus, we shared personal stories and advanced thinking techniques for those ready to take it to the next level.
We also warned about common mistakes like over-translating and waiting for perfection, and reminded everyone to just start.
So your takeaway is start small, be consistent, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Thinking in English is a habit, and habits take time.
That's right. Keep practicing a little every day, and you'll see your English thinking improve step by step.
Thanks for joining us on English Learning Podcast.